For 6 straight years, my mother pretended I didn't exist on Thanksgiving. While my golden child brother sat at the head of her table, I spent the holidays alone, eating takeout in a quiet apartment. But the moment I bought a $900,000 lake house in Lake Tahoe, my phone rang. She didn't call to apologize. She showed up at my front gate with a moving truck, 3 hired movers, and a stack of forged ownership papers, demanding I hand over the keys to my brother's rightful inheritance. She thought I was still the pushover daughter who would cry and comply. What she didn't know was that my lawyer, the county sheriff, and a local news crew were sitting inside the living room, watching her every move on live camera feeds. The moment she stepped through that door with her fake deed, her triumphant smile vanished into absolute horror. My name is Chloe. I'm 27 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I was the invisible daughter in my own family. My mother, Evelyn, had a very simple rule for loving her children. If your name wasn't Brandon, you didn't exist. Brandon was my older brother, the undisputed golden child who could do no wrong, even when he was doing absolutely nothing. Every single Thanksgiving was a vivid reminder of where I stood. While other families gathered to share warmth and gratitude, my mother treated my presence like an unwanted chore. She would spend weeks planning elaborate feasts for Brandon, cooking his favorite dishes and bragging to the neighbors about his endless potential, despite the fact that he was 29, unemployed, and still living in her basement. I, on the other hand, was lucky to even get a text. If I showed up, I was assigned to clean the kitchen while Evelyn lavished Brandon with cash gifts, paid off his credit card debts, and praised him for simply waking up on time. Eventually, the invitations stopped altogether. For 10 long years, Thanksgiving became just another Thursday where I sat in my quiet apartment, listening to the silence of a family that had effectively erased me. But while Evelyn was busy funding Brandon's lifestyle, I was quietly building a life she couldn't even dream of, one that was about to shatter her entire world. While my mother and Brandon were busy spending every dime they could scrape together, I was quietly putting in 80-hour workweeks. I worked as a senior software consultant, living way below my means in a tiny, one-bedroom apartment. To my family, my silence looked like failure. Evelyn assumed I was barely keeping my head above water, and I let her believe it. It was safer that way. In reality, I was building an empire. By 27, years of disciplined investing and late-night freelance contracts paid off. I put down a massive cash deposit and secured a low-interest loan on a stunning $1.2 million lakefront estate in upstate New York. It had floor-to-ceiling glass windows, a private dock, and 5 spacious bedrooms overlooking pristine water. It was supposed to be my personal sanctuary, a physical proof that I had survived my family's neglect and made something of myself entirely on my own terms. I didn't post about it on social media, nor did I send a family group text. I knew better. But peace never lasts long when you have relatives looking for a free ride. A distant aunt happened to spot my name on the county's public property registry while researching local real estate. Within 24 hours, she snapped a screenshot of the listing and sent it straight to my mother. The moment Evelyn saw that $1.2 million price tag, the mother who hadn't spoken to me in years suddenly remembered I existed. The phone call came on a Tuesday evening, just 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. When I saw Evelyn's name flash across my screen, my heart did a familiar, nervous flip. I hadn't heard her voice in over 2 years. "Chloe, sweetheart," she gushed the moment I answered, her voice dripping with a sickly sweet affection I'd never heard directed at me before. "It's been far too long. I've been thinking about you so much lately, and my heart just breaks over how distant we've become." I sat frozen on my couch, holding the phone away from my ear. I knew instantly this wasn't maternal love. It was ambition. Before I could even process her fake enthusiasm, she pivoted straight to the point. "Your Aunt Clara told me about the lake house." "Oh, Chloe, I am just so proud of you. A big house like that is meant for family. So, I've decided we are all coming up to your place for Thanksgiving this year. Brandon is so excited to see it." She didn't ask if I was hosting. She didn't ask if I had plans. She simply announced it, as if my home was automatically community property. When I hesitated, her tone sharpened slightly. "I'll need you to mail me a set of keys by Friday, dear." You know how Brandon's back acts up after long drives. We'll need to get in early to unpack his things properly and check the deed documents for tax purposes. No, Mom, I said firmly. You're not coming, and you're certainly not getting keys. The line went dead silent. The mask was slipping, and I could practically feel her rage radiating through the speaker. 2 days after I rejected her demand, my cousin called me with a frantic warning. Evelyn and Brandon were hosting a small family gathering, boasting to everyone that they were moving into my lake house permanently. According to my cousin, my mother was showing off legal documents, claiming I had bought the estate using a family trust fund that rightfully belonged to Brandon. I immediately contacted Mr. Vance, an elite real estate attorney who came highly recommended in upstate New York. He ran an urgent title check on the property and called me back within an hour, his voice tight with alarm. Chloe, your mother filed a fraudulent quitclaim deed with the county clerk, Mr. Vance explained. She forged your signature, claiming you transferred full ownership of the lake house directly to your brother Brandon. My blood ran cold. She hadn't just tried to guilt-trip her way into my home. She had committed outright felony real estate fraud to steal my entire life savings for her golden child. We can file an emergency injunction right now, Mr. Vance offered. We can stop this before Thanksgiving. I stared out at the dark waters of the lake, feeling a cold, deliberate calmness wash over me. For 27 years, I had let them walk all over me. Not anymore. No, Mr. Vance, I said softly. Let them come. Let them bring their moving trucks on Thanksgiving morning. I want to catch them red-handed in the act. Thanksgiving morning arrived with a biting chill and a clear blue sky over the lake. Inside my home, the atmosphere was charged with quiet anticipation. I hadn't prepared a roast turkey or holiday pies. Instead, my living room was transformed into a command center. Sitting around my dining table were Mr. Vance, County Sheriff Miller, and a 2-person investigative reporting crew from the local news station, complete with high-definition cameras and lapel mics. Mr. Vance had alerted both law enforcement and the media to the impending felony in progress, and everyone was in position. We had high-resolution security cameras streaming live footage from every corner of the driveway directly to a monitor in the kitchen. Around 9 in the morning, the live monitor flickered with movement. A massive, commercial moving van rounded the bend of the gravel driveway, followed closely by a sleek, black luxury SUV, a car I knew Brandon couldn't possibly afford on his own. My heart hammered against my ribs, but it wasn't out of fear. It was pure adrenaline. Through the glass window, I watched as my mother stepped out of the SUV wearing a full-length mink coat, barking orders at the hired movers like she already owned the place. Brandon tumbled out behind her, holding a stack of cheap cardboard boxes and pointing toward my front porch. They truly believed that today was the day they stripped me of everything I'd earned. Sheriff Miller adjusted his belt, gave me a firm nod, and said, "It's time, Chloe. Let them make the first move." Heavy, aggressive pounding echoed through the foyer, accompanied by my mother's piercing voice shouting through the heavy oak door. "Chloe, open this door right now. We have the legal deed, and the movers are on a tight schedule. Don't make this any harder than it needs to be." I stepped up to the door, took a deep breath, and pulled it wide open. Evelyn stood on the porch, her face flushed with triumph, thrusting a stack of forged papers directly into my face. "It's over, Chloe," she sneered, her eyes glinting with cold greed. "This house belongs to Brandon now. You have 30 minutes to pack your little overnight bag and get off our property." Before she could finish her sentence, Sheriff Miller stepped out from the foyer into full view, flanked by Mr. Vance and the news crew, whose camera lights instantly illuminated the porch. Evelyn froze mid-gasp. Her smug expression shattered into pure horror, and the color drained from her face until she turned deathly pale. "Evelyn," Sheriff Miller said, his voice ringing out with absolute authority, "I suggest you drop those papers. You are currently on private property, caught on camera attempting to execute a fraudulent quitclaim deed." Mr. Vance stepped forward, holding up the certified title documents. "The real deed is registered solely to Chloe. You forged her signature, which constitutes grand larceny and real estate fraud." Brandon panicked immediately, dropping his boxes and backing away toward the car. I didn't know. Mom told me she handled everything. The sheriff didn't hesitate. He instructed the movers to leave the property before stepping forward to slap heavy steel handcuffs around Evelyn's wrists, right in front of the rolling news camera. The local news broadcast the entire incident the following evening, exposing Evelyn and Brandon's shameless greed to our entire hometown. Facing overwhelming evidence of forgery and grand larceny, my mother was forced to accept a plea deal that included heavy fines and probation, while Brandon's reputation was utterly destroyed. With the legal storm behind me, quiet finally returned to the lake. That evening, I sat on my back patio watching the golden sunset reflect across the water, enjoying a peaceful Thanksgiving meal completely on my own terms. For the first time in 27 years, I wasn't waiting for anyone's approval or fighting to be seen. I had built my own sanctuary, defended it, and earned my true freedom. To everyone watching, what would you have done if your own family tried to steal your hard-earned home? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.